Welcome to the Coffee Experts Club. If you're at all interested in anything we talk about in this episode, go ahead and check out the description down below, or if you even just want to know more about us, click on the links below. Now on to the episode.
Coffee Experts Club. What's going on, Drew Moody?
Howdy once more from the good old Central America.
Yeah, the fine, creative, amazing spot of Belize. I love it, dude. I always love, I know you've got your background kind of blurred out, but like electric, like that Belizean blue, man, it's everywhere. People use it all over the place, and it just feels Caribbean. Just to see it on this side of the States, I'm just like, dude, I just miss Belize.
Yeah, it's the weirdest thing to me to see houses painted in such extraordinary colors.
Well, I think, and probably, you and I had a chat the other day about WhatsApp, and you're like, dude, I will say I love Belize. It's great down here, but I miss crisp, cold mornings of the Pacific Northwest, right? I think that crisp and cold is not something that you experience in Belize.
I woke up this morning and I look out my window. I go, oh, nice fog. I'm going to go out and enjoy the hot morning.
Oh, man. It's all the thing. You always love someplace you're not, right? That's why grass is always greener. You got to be careful of it. Be grateful for today. Be grateful for what you got. I'm excited. I'm going to be down there in a couple of weeks just to be able to spend some time with you. I'm excited to get you hopefully home soon, to get you some time back up here. We can just mix it up a little bit.
Yes, sir.
Ben's on his way down to Mexico, dirty dog. Although I will say he had his two kids. I don't know if you saw, he pushed a picture over, maybe it was in a different chat, but it was him and his two littles and his bride on an airplane. And I'm like, dude, you are a brave soul. I said,
yeah.
Tell Lenny to kick the crap out of the seat in front of you. Those guys love that stuff.
I mean, Ben has had a growing capacity for patience over the last decade, so I think he'll do great.
Dude, listeners that don't realize who Ben was like a decade ago, we're talking about like Ben was an old man before his time, just grumpy old curmudgeon. Like the thought that Ben now is married and has two little kids, and that, man, he's like a father, and like he's got a Tesla, like all this crazy stuff that Ben has is so different than the Ben Clatterbuck that me and Drew knew from a decade ago.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you can approach him with problems without him getting a little frustrated with you. So it's nice to see the evolution, the Benvolution.
You were talking about your puppy the other day pooping or something like that. And he's like, dude, let me tell you something about pooping. Middle of the night, I was up with the kid. Like, just the things that, man, the things that grow us up, the things that change us. Ben Clatterbuck, a family man. Hey, so last week we had on the show, if you missed it, Coffee Experts, welcome to you too. It's not just me and Drew here shooting the shit. It's great to have you here with us as well. Last week we talked to a pretty unique guest. We've had lots of guests here on the show. We've had big franchises on the show. We've had little guys that are just one store independents. We've had, a growing independent that's got 3 and 4 and 5 and all the way up locations, but we have never had what we had on the show last week, and it was a brand called Ping. Comes out of the east northern seaboard and are doing just some crazy stuff with robotics, AI, and coffee. Drew, I know you weren't on the show, so I caught you a little bit up before we were on it, but before we jumped on today, but man, within like 100 square feet is the location. You can push your order in on their app a week in advance if you want, and it not until you hit the geo field as you drive through the geo field around this location, it'll start making your drink and it'll be ready by the time you hit the window, and then the freaking window adjusts to the height of your vehicle and it dishes you out your cup, whatever it is, and so we talked a lot about on the show. And Drew, I know you said you should share the part about it. You've been out of the States too long, because that was priceless,
man. Well, I mean, recently, and hopefully they don't listen to this, but recently I've been picking up some coffee clients.
Yeah, I love it.
And they've talked to me about the things that they offer, the things that they want to sell, or the ways that they want to operate. And I'm thinking to myself, what has happened in the last 4 years to the service industry in the U.S.? Maybe I've been in Belize too long, because here I'm like, oh yeah, I'm ahead of my time, right? I'm going to offer this thing nobody offers, and it's like been done a decade ago. And so that same process is happening in my head here is happening with people there, because constant innovations. And then I hear about it, and I'm like, what has happened? Where have I been, under a rock?
Right. But I will say this. I think that the thing that it challenges all of us is, and we're going to talk about it a little bit today, just some, the beauty of doing what we do at the Collab team and talking about it here on Coffee Experts is we're under all kinds of hoods, right? We're doing coffee consulting for all different kinds of brands, helping with their projects, helping with their finances, helping with their processes, helping with their teams, helping them with speed, service, strength, all the things that we really emphasize here on Coffee Experts. And down in Belize, Drew and I have, the first drive-thru coffee in the country of Belize with 3 locations, looking at a 4th one coming soon, Drew. I know we have that kind of in the pocket, but
yeah,
what you get is a lot of perspectives from a lot of different coffee shop owners and the way a lot of different people do it, because when you're under the hood of so many different coffee shops, the gift it gave us, the gift it gave me and Drew was, hey, well, let's grab the best of what we see everywhere and roll it up into our own expression down in Belize, which has been amazing. But what you get as coffee experts is the opportunity to hear us talk about things. So Drew was just on a coffee client conversation with a guy that's opening up his first location, amazing, premier, A+ new site. But he was talking about kind of a kiosk setting, right? Drew, not completely what we're talking about with Ping, where it's all robotics and AI, but maybe tell them a little bit about the conversation that you had with the client that we have coming out of Utah.
Yeah, it's a new idea to me, and that was where I said I don't know if this has been tried in the States, and
Yeah,
I missed it, right, because I've been out for a little while.
yeah,
But it's almost like a hybrid, non-interactive experience.
right,
Walk into a lobby. The lobby, it's kind of a waiting room. It's going to be
yeah,
decked out comfortably, beautifully. It's going to look nice, and it's going to be inviting. But really, you're not there to sit. You're not there to hang out. It's almost like a covered walk-in or a covered walk-up window,
yeah,
where you're going to have menus and a digital automated order system, and then a drink pickup area on one side. And there's not really going to be like a greeter or someone to walk you through the menu or many of those things. That's what the kiosks are for. Now there'll be a human presence. The whole store is still visible, as if you were to walk in any local coffee shop. You'll see, the espresso machine on the far wall, people working. You'll hear the sounds, the music, all the regular inviting things of a coffee shop. But when you walk in, you're not going to have someone greeting you, taking your order. You're going to do it all yourself, which I understand has been done, at some level at some fast food restaurants. But
yeah.
usually it's not like an exclusive experience. Usually there's also a human option. So I think that it could be a good idea because it is a specific avatar that would want that kind of experience. And I think it could work out really well. I'm excited to see how he kicks it off.
Well, I think that, and what it turned into was Drew and I having a conversation around, because like obviously Drew and I are business partners. I mean, we do have the gift of we've stepped into a time capsule and traveled backwards in time to a place that doesn't have a lot of the automations and things that we deal with here in the States, which is a gift, right? Because we can take these things that we've seen work and travel back in time and roll them out there and see them work again. But I will say it does consistently challenge Drew and I on what's the experience we want to create. And that's what we wanted to talk about today on the show was what's the experience? What sets you apart as different in the experience that you're of what you're offering? I was telling Drew, we have a coffee client that's in Tennessee, just outside of Nashville, who was talking about bringing in a choose your roast option where it would actually small batch roast right there in front of you the beans you wanted and make you a cup of coffee based on it as you walk into the store. Now, obviously, that's not going to work for the standard drive-through, like what we talk about a lot on the show. If you're thinking about starting a drive-through, this is where we want you to tune in every week. We're going to give you insights. We're going to give you wisdom. If you check out myfirstdrivethru.coffee, and we give you it's our whole free masterclass, 4 different modules, I think actually 5 modules on what you need to know to start your first coffee shop. Completely free. Go check it out, myfirstdrivethru.coffee. We talked a lot of drive-through, which is a lot of what we kind of coin and say, kind of joke japping back and forth amongst ourselves as like fast coffee. Is typically a lot of sugars, a lot of blendeds, a lot of like specialty style drinks. This particular one, like you had said earlier, Drew, is if you have your own roaster and you're roasting your own beans, you choose your own beans that makes drink in front of you. Obviously, that's a different avatar, right? That person's you're not gonna be able to do that with your sugary drinks. That's for somebody that loves espresso, loves their Americano, wants to taste the beans. Like that's a very unique avatar, but it does create a certain kind of experience that is very much part of what they've created at Stomping Ground down in Tennessee. So I think that what is really important, and I know, Drew, that you really are passionate about this, is what's the experience we're creating for our customers? Like, what are they going to enjoy when they walk in? And that was our lean in. And everybody heard us argue about it on the show. All you have to do is tune in a few episodes back on, are we going to open a cafe in Cayo? Like, are we going to open our flagship store? They were tearing down the building. And we had to decide, are we just going to open something just like what we've had? Are we going to open a drive-through expression like what we have on the island? Or are we going to lean into a deeper investment into cafe in this place we've been the longest in, Belize? And you were really passionate about, we owe it to this town to create an experience. So let's talk a little bit about maybe that. Like, what is your heart behind the experience we're trying to create at Coffee de los Mayas? And then maybe about the avatars, because I know we have lost some business like in switching over to this model. Let's talk about that honestly too for people, because I think they need to hear it.
Yeah, anytime there's a big shift in a store, even down to like a management change, like I had to switch managers, you're probably going to lose some traffic just due to the experience that is provided. Back to that whole topic is that manager not only provides customer service to that specific customer on that day that they come, the manager sets the mood for the whole store. And that's going to change. And what we did was move the entire store. We kept the staff, we kept the manager, we moved the store. We did provide some new options to kind of heighten the experience itself, which is great. I think innovation is important. And I know we stepped into a time capsule, but that doesn't mean we're not innovating. Every day we come up with a new way to do something that we haven't seen done before or tried before. But I do think that there are things that all of us, even though we're could be considered competitors, right? We're all in the same field. We're all sitting in the same driver's seat. And there's things that we're all going to face together, whether or not that's kind of how we want to see it. And looking to the future, looking to how is our industry going to change and shift. And then we're talking about contactless and automated and sorry, I froze up on my side. Contactless and automated. Is that the avatar you want? Would you like to have a investment that is hands off, that is all you really do is hire a tech guy and he comes in and he fine tunes your little equipment and it's just making coffee all the time? Why is it that you got into the industry? I know I got into the industry for the people, and that's why I'm very experience oriented and people oriented. I love that side of things. But if you're more of like, how can I get it as fast as possible, as consistent as possible, and keep the quality across service and product the same all the time, you're going to want to lean into automation, right? Because no matter how much I invest in my team, I love my team, I'll take them out, I'll do fun stuff, I'll celebrate them. They're going to make mistakes pretty consistently because they're human, and that's just kind of what we do. And so looking forward, into the future, into the next 10 years or so, and the automations that are going to come into our sphere, into the coffee world, what is it that you want to adopt, and what is it that you're going to want to kind of just push to the side? Because they're going to be shiny new things. It's like, I want to try that. But does it align with your vision? Does it align with you as a coffee shop owner and how you want to see your stores running and how you want to see your teams operating? Because even at Roasters back in the day, there were some things that like, I don't want to get a puck press. I like tamping, right? And that's just like the most basic, simple adoption of new technology. We ended up doing it, but that's even down to that. Like, which direction do you want to take things?
Well, I think, coffee shops are deciding this all the time, right? Do I want the traditional La Marzocco, like I'm going to pull a shot, or do I want to just push buttons? You know what I mean? Like am I going to graduate to a Starbucks button pusher, which is like no skill. I just roll up, and as long as the machine has what it needs inside of it, we're going to get a pretty consistent cup of coffee. And they do that for the sake of trying to like consistency. Now, I know none of us think about Starbucks and are like, dude, I love my Starbucks cup of coffee for its taste. Like typically, unless you're putting a bunch of stuff in there, like it's not going to be the best cup of coffee that you want. But I will say this, it's very consistent. Like it consistently is going to taste. I get an Americano every time, right? It doesn't taste great, but at least I know what I'm going to expect when I get there. And I can go all over the world. I can get an Americano in Brazil. I can get Americano in London. I can get Americano in Seattle. And every one of those Starbucks is going to give me the same expression and the same taste because they've standardized. And I think that some of that, I think what you have to decide is how important is each element to you, right? Because for me, I love the side of it. And I think, Drew, you can lean into this too, although we get complaints from time to time. I love the craft, right? I love let's pull a traditional shot. Like, let's teach the kids about time. Let's teach the kids about technique. Let's teach the kids about milk. Let's teach the kids about all of these different things that all contribute to a great cup of coffee. And let's teach them the craft, and let's really stand on the craft. One of the 3 pillars we teach the kids is speed, service, strength, right? Those are our 3, but strength is what we're talking about when it comes to the quality of coffee we're putting out. To me, it would make me really sad if we standardize so hard that we abandon craft. But the reality is that like any craftsman that you have come in, like somebody comes in and cuts the molding on your ceiling, like sometimes they're going to do it wrong, right? They're a craftsman. They're going to do it. Like some guy installed our windows with new windows. They installed something wrong. They had to come out and fix it. And same thing with your cup of coffee, right? If you're going to lean into craft, you're going to have human error because craftsmanship takes time. Craftsmanship isn't an exact science. But for me, I don't want to abandon craft just for consistency and lose that gift of it. I don't know what your thoughts are on that. Where do you sit on that?
Yeah, no, I agree. And it's funny because I don't exactly know Starbucks' mission statement, but it's something really like special sounding to nurture the human soul or something like that, right? So when you're looking at the elements of craftsmanship, professionalism, and this is a profession, this is a career. A lot of people go into coffee to be this like expert and really knowledgeable, and they've developed all these tools to teach people. And if you move towards the automation, you lose the ability to even have these conversations, right?
Yeah.
We don't have to know anything about coffee to buy a machine, put it in our store, and plug it in. I don't have to know anything. I just have to be able to buy it. And then there's tons of people who will just come service it for me, and I don't even have to look at it. So what I love about having the human element is I get to have these conversations. And I mean, I love to teach too, and I really know probably more about this than anything else at this point in my life. And so when people come to me with questions, I like to see that aha moment, which I'm sure anybody in leadership has understood when you teach someone. It's nice to see them get it. And so we're developing a community, and we do it with this podcast. We do it with our businesses. We do it with the consulting. We're developing a community of people who are passionate about coffee. And I think for us, right, there's no wrong way to do it. There might be a way I disagree with. There might be a way I wouldn't do it. But if that's your way, that's your way. But what I would be sad about losing is the ability to have passionate conversations, the ability to teach and to learn and to grow. Because if I don't have to know anything about my machine, then I don't have to learn anything about my machine. I don't have to learn anything about what's happening in the coffee world. I just have to be able to buy the next best piece of equipment, to add on the next piece of software, to download. And again, nothing wrong with it. I might sound a little bit like I don't love it, because personally, that's not my way. But if that's your way, that's great. But I love to bring the craft down here to Belize. Now there's tons of, like, we were just talking about it. There was like 3 coffee shops in San Ignacio, and now there's 17 here in this town that we started. It's only been 3 years
since we started.
But what really happened, and maybe it wasn't us, right? Maybe it was just the timing, but it's like we started teaching. They didn't know what a barista was. They didn't know about espresso. They didn't know anything. And we started teaching these kids, who then started going out in the community and talking to their friends, talking to their parents. And, the word spreads, and now everybody knows what a barista is. And now there's a bunch of coffee shops. And yeah, that's more competition for us, which is not necessarily lovely, but I like to see that effect on the community. And that happens everywhere, right? That happens anywhere that a new idea goes. It's going to spread out. People are going to catch on to it. They're going to create their own expressions of it. And that, I think, is really special, a really special part of what we do with coffee, because it's so personality oriented, which again relates back to what experience you want to provide. So we have a certain personality for this stuff, which is why we do it a certain way. And like you said, we pick and choose the best bits that we think we can take. But again, that's just what resonates with us. And we'll tell everybody here about it, and what we decide to adopt and what we decide to push to the side. But really, all it is fine tuning this mission, this goal, this vision that we have of the business that we want to create and run. And that's, what we do every day when we talk about these ideas.
Yeah. I think you nailed it. I think it depends on what are you trying to bring to the world. Like, we believe that each one of us, man, was created with this gift inside to bring to the world. And man, if Drew and I felt like we were supposed to go to Belize and do this thing with coffee, and it was supposed to be this way, just as passionately as our guest last week, feel like they're supposed to bring this automated, Android-based, like robotic, AI-driven coffee expression. And man, so who's right? No, we're both right. It's an issue of what are you called to bring to the world? How are you going to lean into it? And then what is the expression? What's the experience that makes you unique? Like for Drew and I, we've really had to lean into, well, it's really important to us. We love that our coffee is like grown, roasted, served in Belize. Like that's something that is very unique to us. It feels so cool to know we've got farmers here. We work with local dairies here to bring in the milk. Like, we're creating our own syrups in country. This is a very Belizean expression that we're giving back to the country. We feel like that's really important. We're not just here to take money out of the country. We haven't taken a dollar from the country. Everything that we've had has been invested back into the business these last several years. And I think that that's important to us. But there may be some people that are like, no, I just want a solid ROI on my investment. Like, I just want to know that when I get involved in this, like, it's very important to me. This is my retirement plan. And I need to know that in retirement, this was come back to me. I'm also not looking for a job. I want hands off. I don't really want to be that invested in this thing. I think each one of us has to decide what's the role we have, what's the coffee experience we want to have or create for our customers, and then what makes us unique. Like, what's the unique thing about us? And so for us, we leaned into heavy Mayan theme, partnering with a local artisan that comes in and paints all our walls with Mayan murals, and try and create a theme that produces something that feels very Belize, and look at that, dude. Look at dude, I love your little puppy. Anyway, I think creating the experience that's going to reflect who you are and what it is you're called to bring to the world. And I think that's the most important thing. So if you're listening today, I think that the biggest thing I take away, I would say, is really challenge yourself on what's the experience, and realize when you get bad reviews. We just got a bad review right before we got on this call. Like, talk about a buzzkill. We're just coming on the call, and it's about the experience the customer's having. Like, listen to that and take that back to your people and teach them with that. Like Drew was saying, some of our baristas, that people will pull up, we're still teaching customer service. Americans do customer service really well. There are people that come from all over the world to learn customer service from American people, and so we come down to a place like Belize where the customer service isn't naturally something they do well necessarily. And us having to teach baristas, you can't just ask when people pull up to the window, what do you want? Like that doesn't feel good. Nobody enjoys that experience. What do you want isn't the way that we greet people. Like that, I think Dutch Bros has done a great job, maybe over the top, but with the bro bra, like I don't know if you've seen those TikToks, Drew, but it's like what it feels like getting a drink at Dutch Bros, and like it's the barista at the window, and they're like, "Hey, what are you guys up to today?" And then they start climbing into the car with the person. They're leaning further, and they like climb through the window, and it's like, but the joke is real. This is a culture Dutch Bros has really promoted. It's created their brand, and it's what they're known for. So I think the question is, what do you want to be known for? What makes you unique? And how are you creating an experience that is genuine from you and is the expression you feel that you're supposed to bring to the coffee industry? Because that's what makes us all special.
Amen to that, brother.
Amen, brother. All righty. Well, coffee experts, I hope you enjoyed it today. Definitely tune into that episode last week. That was phenomenal. It felt like something out of the future. So it's a great episode. Really enjoyed our time with the Ping folks last week. And we'll see you here next week on Coffee Experts Club. See you guys.
Thanks, guys.